Because it's not just college baseball. College sports in general have really started to thrive as of late. And by as of late, I mean like the last 5 to 10 years where it's like, wow, it's exploding, right? Like college softball, for example, has never experienced higher ratings. College softball is the same. It's the same thing. It's the same sport. College baseball's ratings have exploded. Women's college basketball, which for the first time in my life, I watched like more than 13 seconds of women's college
Caitlin
basketball.
Clark, man.
Caitlin Clark got me to a television set. Even that Angel Reese for LSU. Didn't like her, but that's kind of why I watched, And now they have another player from, I think, Louisville, something Plith or Plath or something like that, that's transferring to LSU, who was in a bit of like a heated game with Angel Reese, is now joining her in LSU. So, like, I'm going to watch. College football. Now, depending on where you're at, the ratings kind of fluctuate. It's very regional, right? Very South dependent. SEC is big, but overall ratings are going up, right? So college sports as a whole, we're seeing the ratings increase. And I'm like, why is that? And the more I watch the college game, the more I see why the ratings are going up. It's a different level of passion. It's a different level of urgency, right? Because it's not the talent. It's not the product itself that is selling more, on TV, selling more in-person sales, selling more merchandise, blah, 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 blah. Because, I mean, let's be real. Like, anybody, now, Paul Skeens aside, I think anybody that would go from college baseball right up to the pros would get annihilated, right? So it's clearly not the talent level. Same thing goes for basketball, women's college basketball, whatever the sport may be. Going from college to the pro, those players would most likely get crushed. But it's not the product, it's not the talent. It's the urgency of the product. Where, like, when you are watching Chase Burns, for example, who on Monday threw a beautiful 6 innings in relief, 2 hits, no earned for the Tennessee Volunteers to send them, or to stave off elimination and to eliminate Stanford. That is, first of all, an all-time performance. Let's stop there. And he is going to be a very, very good, he's a very good prospect for the league. I don't know if he ends up making it to the pros and how he ends up doing in the MLB, but very good prospect nonetheless. But you can see his heart is on his sleeve when he's pitching. Like, there is a different level of urgency and passion each and every pitch, each and every game in college sports. And I have just had such a great appreciation through watching, the conference tournaments and then the regionals, then the super regionals, and now Omaha, the College World Series. Such an appreciation for these student athletes and what they do each and every day to get ready to go on and show out for their school. It's been impressive. I love it.
I think, yes, 100%. It's the intensity. I think a lot of it, too, people that get annoyed with the divas in professional sports.
That's another thing, yeah.
I think, there are a lot of old school people out there and just people that like their athletes to be athletes and only athletes, right?
Yeah, a lot of people do. I personally don't care a ton. I can separate, artist from artist, athlete from their opinions or whatever. But
sure.
yeah, no.
That's a big narrative. And when you start seeing players in the professional realm start, making waves and causing turbulence,
yeah,
I think that can turn people off
100%
from a particular sport. And then you look at college, and everybody's fighting for that opportunity. Everybody is on the same level. And now with NILs, we've seen it shift and change at least a little bit.
Yeah, but
where they're starting to get paid. But it's not anything like a professional athlete.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the best guys are still like you still have to fight, even if you are one of the top guys.
100%. And I think that the humbleness and the humility that's still in college sports is really part of the reason that it's so successful and being driven.
I would agree. I would also say it feels more relatable, right? Like,
yeah.
And I've always said this with Steph Curry, right? Like, I think Steph Curry, it's up in the air, but I would argue he's more liked than LeBron James. I think LeBron James all time is a greater player, right? He can guard anywhere 1 through 5. Doesn't matter. Like, we're not getting into that, but I personally like Steph Curry better, and I think a lot of people do because he is more relatable, right? Like, there's like 1% of the population is, what's LeBron, like 6'9", 260?
Yeah.
He's a linebacker. Nobody can relate to what he is able to do on the court. Almost anybody can go pick up a ball and try to emulate Steph Curry's game. You can take a step back 27-footer. Now, I'm not saying you're going to make it, but you can play similar to Steph Curry, right? You cannot play a LeBron James style of basketball unless you are as physically gifted as him, which almost nobody is. Like college baseball in that same regard, and college sports in general, the athletes feel more relatable, right? Where you're just like, I remember going to college. I remember the struggles of class and relationships, and I got to go to the dining hall where it's a buffet. But then you're like, wait a minute. So they're gonna do that, and they go to lift, and then practice, and then film study, and then they're gonna turn around tomorrow, and then they got to leave for a brutal SEC weekend series at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Like it's like you can relate to like the struggle and the grind that is college athletics.
And I think the relatability aspect too comes into play when we all went to high school. We all knew people from high school that ended up playing college sports, but you don't always know somebody that ends up making it to the pros and ends up playing in the MLB, in the NFL, no matter, pick your professional league. So it's easier to relate with people like, we could run down the list of people that we've had on the show that we've gone to high school with that now play Division I college sports, whether that's football or baseball.
Yeah, even basketball.
And basketball. It's more relatable, you're right. And I think we're starting to see that trend grow. College sports taking root and really growing. And that's evident from what we do on the media side of things.
Yeah.
You can see it all over our research page, all over our review page. We were looking up stuff for the show before we started recording, and we were trying to find topics and what would be best placed this week and what we should put next week, and when trying to structure when we're going to do different segments. College baseball was all over the research tab.
College baseball World Series,
Every single tab.
Yeah.
So it's growing in popularity, and as it should, because it's a fantastic product.
Yep. That's all we got.